The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode.
The summer of 2004 at 20.
All right, we are back to close another summer of 2004 at 20 week here at the Brandon Peters Show with another song. And David Banks is back today for another round as we talk Juvenile. Welcome back, David.
Thank you very much, Brandon. Thank you for having me. And
Nope.
now that you said 2004, I just realized how old I am, and I'm sad now.
You and I both. You and I both.
I'm very sad.
Which was a song from that time by Jason Mraz called You and I Both. I just remembered that. It was around this time, 2004, 2003. It was
nice.
There we go.
See how it all comes together now. All right.
Yep. Just a curbside prophet waiting on my rocket to come. Yeah. All right. So the movies this week that we talked about on the episode, David, I'm going to run them by you. If you got thoughts, share them now. With The Door in the Floor, Maria Full of Grace, Cinderella Story, that's the Hilary Duff one, and I, Robot, the Will Smith, Isaac Asimov, Shia LaBeouf, Spoon.
Man, I liked iRobot.
I did too.
Yeah. I did. I really enjoyed iRobot. It's in the age of AI now, very significant piece.
Yeah,
very significant piece. I highly enjoyed that film.
I remember the time being like, man, this feels like the perfect prequel to The Matrix. Like that's what it felt like to me.
Actually, it did, didn't it?
Yeah.
And seeing that Will Smith was supposed to be in The Matrix,
right? Yeah,
but he opted out of The Matrix. But it is a nice little companion piece in a way.
Yeah. So today, the music video we have is Slow Motion. It's the third and final single from Juvenile's sixth album, Juve the Great. It was preceded by In My Life and Bounce Back. The album was certified platinum, his third one to do so. As much as he backed that ass up, Slow Motion is Juvenile's only #1 hit song on the Billboard Hot 100, which it was for 2 weeks in August 2004. Also the first #1 for Cash Money Records. The single itself was certified gold with over 500,000 albums sold. That's the single, not the full album. The full album went platinum. That's over 1 million. This is Juvenile's final album on Cash Money, and the label, which is the label I feel he single-handedly was responsible for putting on the map. Like
he was.
Soulja Slim, who guests on this song, was shot and killed a month before this album came out, and he becomes only the 7th artist to do a posthumously finish in first place since Notorious B.I.G.'s Mo Money, Mo Problems in 1997. So this video has no director attached to it, which we're talking about today. The mysteries of music videos, even from 2004, sometimes they don't have directors, and we're like, who fucking directed this? Sometimes they have models, and like, who's that girl? And they don't know.
They just shot it themselves,
in the video, everyone's wearing black shirts with R.I.P. Soulja Slim in white text on the front and back. There are also people holding "Thou Shall Not Kill" paperboard signs. In the middle of the video, there are cameo appearances by Birdman, Lil Wayne, signaling the end of the animosity between Juvenile and Cash Money, which I guess was going on at the time. And this is just a hangout video. There's bikes, motorcycles parked. There's probably a cookout going, people dancing, DJ out in a yard, Juvenile just talking around the city, singing around the city. Not a lot going on here. But Juvenile's wearing a Slow Motion shirt, so yeah, so you can't.
It was more or less like a family reunion, kind of like a block party type of video, which I can understand why they didn't have a director attached to it. They just set up cameras and say, "Hey, we're shooting ourselves."
Yeah, this is a typical, like a lot of low budget rap videos at the time.
Yeah,
did this, and so the Juvenile Birdman's here, but not Manny Fresh. Maybe the beef is. And where's BG? So
they left. They're gone.
So Juvenile, I think everybody knows Back That Ass Up, which when we
The
talked,
old back.
remember when we talked Usher, and I was like, Burn is like, you got it bad, tweaked. You
Mhm.
remember Juvenile did Back That Ass Up, and he did a song called I Got That Fire, which was just like, I'm
Yeah.
trying to do Back That Ass Up again. But who knew
There's
Slow
some
Motion
things you
would be
just
the
can't
one that everybody like I would have thought Back That Ass Up was everywhere. Slow Motion
dude,
was around, but
man.
like I'm stunned. It's like this is the one that your mom and dad enjoyed, I guess, because if it hits the
I
Hot
like
100 number one, so, like
yeah. I like to call Back That Ass Up an old Negro spiritual, man. That daggone song
you heard that
was
start, everybody went, "Oh!" like back when that came
it
out.
doesn't matter how old you
Yep.
are, you was out
Dunk,
or where
dunk,
you was out
dunk,
shaking your
dunk.
ass. Exactly. It
Mm-hmm.
was that song was a monster. And you're right, yeah. Baby, Lil Wayne, Manny Fresh, BG,
Mm-hmm.
Juvie, Cash Money Millionaires. You know, this is. Let me explain to you how big this group was. Okay, they inserted a name, a word in the dictionary. You know, bling.
Oh
They
yeah.
made they made that word
Mm-hmm.
so popular. It wasn't nowhere here in the dictionary. When they came out with bling bling,
Yep.
that's it. That
BG,
it
that was
became
his big one.
yeah, yeah. It was everything they touched during this time period was either a gold or platinum album. And it's very surprising that Slow Motion was Juvie's first, was Cash
And
Money's first platinum.
because I feel like they had bigger songs than this. I don't know what. Maybe I was just paying more
I
attention,
think they did.
but
It probably has something to do with Soulja Slim's death, maybe.
yeah.
I have no idea.
So
I don't know, but
at this time,
or maybe the controversy going on behind the scenes of Cash Money.
which is funny because like Cash Money, there was No Limit Records, which took off huge, and like
Hmm.
I guess in this situation, they are like No Limit would have been the Backstreet Boys, and Cash Money was in sync
In sync,
because
yeah.
No Limit was the real deal. Cash Money felt like these wannabes, and then Cash Money ends up passing by them. And Cash Money delivers like a legitimate massive star in Lil Wayne.
Oh,
When he grow and
oh,
you watch him grow up because he is like a child because these albums they came in the black cases. Remember the them
yeah,
and No Limit they had these black cases. They weren't plastic like that would
yeah.
break like glass, and the booklet was like basically advertisements for albums that may never ever come out. They just made album
Uh-huh.
art and said, "Yep, this is Lil Wayne, and this is his first album and his eighth album and his ninth." And it's like, dude, he
Yeah,
hasn't even put out one
yeah,
yet. Um,
yeah.
and they're like, oh, and then he gets together like BG and Lil Wayne do an album together, and then but Juvenile was the one that like took off. Like, he had You Understand, was that his first one? The first hit,
I
or
think so.
and he
Or
was this rapper that like you couldn't understand, you didn't know what he was saying. Like he was really hard to understand. But like
it was a New Orleans twang that he
yeah,
was, the accent that he had and everything. But
yeah. So he
I
breaks
think
out, and then like the
Juvie
other
was the first star of that group. Yeah.
yeah the other guys kind of struggle too, and then the big timers came, and I think the big timers like then they had like the big timers took off, and then like
Yeah.
because BG was the guy like he was supposed to be the best one, right? And then he was just kind of like, eh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was always Juvie and BG.
Mm-hmm,
Like Wayne was always the kid. He was
mm-hmm.
always in the back and waiting for his turn. Manny Fresh was the producer
Yep.
and everything. So he was always in the back.
Birdman was like the guy
And
that
Birdman.
you knew he killed people. Like you just kind of you looked at him and be like, I bet he's like he probably murdered someone this morning. Like that.
Yeah.
Like that's what he looked like. I just sorry to think he might be this like nice, like light as a feather guy, but like I said
He
that
goes to
about a
church on
Birdman.
Sundays with his
Yeah.
grandmother and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, never heard a fly, but like he just looks like he
No.
murdered somebody. Like
And you look at this video, man. I bet you if you look at this, if people who've never seen this video before will look at it and say,
mhm.
it was like, is that Lil Wayne? because he has no tats on his face.
Right.
His dreads is not matted together or anything.
Oh, he's got a shirt on.
He's got a shirt on and everything. This is like, my God. Like he's a little kid in this video. Really, he is.
There was big time. What was the group? Because there was a group. There was Juvenile, BG, Lil Wayne, and there was another kid too. I can't remember what his name was, but they had a group too. Because there's Big Timers and
Cash Money.
There's Cash Millionaires, but
oh Jesus Christ, man. Damn it, Brian, it was 20 years ago.
Oh, what was their name? Hot Boys.
Hot Boys, yes. There you go.
Yep.
Oh my God, that song. Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they culturally, they had an impact.
No. So Bling Bling, that was Juvenile and Lil Wayne. What was BG's song?
I was saying, like, culturally, man, because you never really saw anybody with grills in their mouth,
right?
With diamond rings and gold watches and flossing.
What was the New Orleans stuff? You had Master P, you had them, like they were then.
Yeah,
that was what they did. Which is crazy because it was like you can like both because then you had them and then what Trick Daddy started coming out and then the 3-6 Mafia. They were all bringing the South up.
Let me tell you, like I remember, let's go back to 95, and I remember at the infamous Source Awards where Outkast had their first, and they was from Atlanta, and they had their first album just drop, and I think they won like best rap duo or new artist or something like that. And I will never forget that Andre 3000 got up on the stage and said, in front of the New York crowd, and said, "The South has something to say."
Mm-hmm.
Shortly thereafter, there you had, Outkast was already out. You already had Jermaine Dupri, who was producing hit records after hit records from Atlanta. After that, you had New Orleans come out with Master P. Then you had 3-6 Mafia. Then you had Trick Daddy from down in Florida. And you had the South, like Ludacris eventually came out after that, and then T.I., and then so forth and so on. Then all these Southern rappers just started coming to the forefront, and they was basically, and everybody at that time was like, oh, it's East versus West, is West versus East type of thing. Out of nowhere, it's like an influx of Southern hip-hop music just came and just took over. It was incredible. If you really look back at it and just think about this era, and I remember as of this recording not too long ago, Nelly was on LeBron James's show, The Shot, on Max.
Yeah.
And he said that during this time period from the year 2000 to 2010 was the most competitive as far as record sales in hip hop history.
Yeah.
And now, and I'm old enough to think back to like, well, the late 80s of hip hop, where hip hop wasn't at the peak as it was during this time period. But in the late 80s, you like DJ Jazzy Jeff and the First Prince, Eric B and Rakim, LL Cool J, KRS-One, NWA, Public Enemy. You had D Nice. You had a Kumo D. You had like an influx of like legitimate lyricists. Run DMC was still out at that time. That it was like almost every week they were, vying for number one. And then you go into the 90s, Snoop, Pop, Big, Wu-Tang came out. You had Jay-Z come out with Reasonable Doubt. You had Nas hit out with Illmatic. That was sort of, album sales. Let's see, was number one. During this time period, I would like to say that Nelly was right at this, Eminem, Nelly, Ludacris.
Well, yeah, there's the Southern rap thing, and then lightly there's the Midwest, because you got Nelly, you've got Eminem, you got Kanye, Twista, like those guys are coming out.
Twista drops.
Yeah,
you still had Jay-Z coming out. You still had Nas coming out. Method Man was out at this time.
It was all over the nation. Now
it was everywhere. Little Wayne ascended back and started to ascend in 2006. I have to agree. During this time period was probably commercially the greatest time period as far as record. 50 Cent hit out during that decade. It was probably the
That's right.
greatest time
Yeah.
as far as record sales that has ever been. The most competitive. Every week it was somebody else different on top.
Well, and I've watched it change. Like, so during this summer of series that we did, going from 82 to 93 to 2004, like the hip hop, like rap R&B has taken over the Hot 100 top 10. And this is
Yeah.
just general music. Like it went from not a factor in 82 to a presence in 93, and now just the dominant. Like because I try to get a various group of music to
Yeah.
talk about on these. So I'm not just we're not hammering the same topics. It's not the same genre every week. It's like there's not a lot of rock coming in the summer of 2004 in the charts. There's not a lot. You got
No.
Hoobastank and Maroon 5. That's
it.
That's what you got. That's what you have. It's all R&B, hip hop, rap, and then your pop stars doing stuff.
Yeah.
Like if they get in there, but like it is the rap and R&B are the dominant Hot 100 songs coming through, and it's just a massive shift with where it is at the time. So
and it was crazy to think that pretty much after the song Juvie left Cash Money, and there was a whole dispute. Manny Fresh left Cash Money, and it was kind of like an influx. It was a down period for Cash Money until Lil Wayne comes out with the Carter.
Yeah.
Then the Carter 2, and then the massive successful Carter 3.
Yeah.
And then after that, he just took off, became, probably known as one of the best rappers ever.
Yeah.
And
we had him in the Celebrity All-Star game in here in Indianapolis. Recently. Like he's at that, yeah.
And from this Cash Money tree, you have Drake, you have Nicki Minaj, Tyga, you have Young Money coming out, and you see how big Drake is now. You see how big Nicki is now. And all that stems from Cash Money.
Yeah.
All that stems from this. And you can't say that Cash Money doesn't have a place in not only hip hop, music, but music in general.
Well,
they were huge.
The one thing I want to note on this period, but especially Cash Money and No Limit, is the entrepreneurship that came with this stuff. Because this wasn't just these were guys priding themselves on being the label, doing their marketing, doing their merchandise, doing like I mean, you didn't get a lyric book, you got an advertisement magazine store booklet.
Yeah.
And like they used every bit of space on the CD case to advertise something else. They barely wanted to put the track list on there. And like these guys were all about, they wore their shirts, they talked about business a lot. They talked in his interviews, on TV, in their lyrics. They were proud to be entrepreneurs, to be doing their own thing. And like,
they were independent. They were independent, man.
Yeah. Well,
they did it themselves.
Low key, Jay-Z's building to that with himself. But like, this is everybody. There's a lot of them that we have probably forgotten that came out and tried. But No Limit, since No Limit kind of like they started it and went in a whole different direction, and then Master P thought he was going to be an NBA player, and they sort of let Cash Money pass them by. Granted, one of their big names, C Murder, goes to jail for life, and that probably screws him up a lot. And Silk the Shocker, I think, never took off in a way that Lil Wayne did for Cash Money.
No.
Like he never did.
Now they had a moment there when they signed Snoop from Death Row.
They had Snoop, and then Snoop got right out.
Had Snoop recorded like maybe 3 albums with him, and then he was out. So it was pretty much after Snoop
and Mystical got out. Mystical got out. Yeah,
Mystical
became a bigger name rapper and had bigger hits when he left than when he was there.
Yeah, he did. I mean, you see, No Limit only lasted maybe 3 to 4 years.
It probably had like
max.
a 4-year where they were. I mean, they became like the fresh new. This is what I want from rap for like a couple years, and then I think it just it got stale really fast with them in a way that Cash Money kept building and felt like, I don't know what happened
It seemed
differently, because they're very much if the same in terms of like, if you looked
they
at
are.
CDs, you'd have thought they came from like the same place, like cheap Photoshop art for covers. Like
They made it at the house,
they
man.
made the house. Yeah,
They made
there's
it at
some
the
guy
house.
ironing the shirts for the tour.
Yeah,
Like, like it was
yeah.
very. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the entrepreneurship, there's a homegrown feel to this that I like. That really appealed to me. With them, like I really got into Master P for a quick second, because I liked the entrepreneurship he had with it. He wanted to make his own shoe line. He seemed like a smart businessman in terms of things he was doing. He was trying to produce movies. He brought us Eddie Griffin, who's a funny motherfucker. Like I never would have known who Eddie Griffin was without Master P. I was like one of like 3 people. I think the only white person in the theater opening weekend for Foolish when that came. I was gonna support. I was like, I gotta support. I was gonna support the new, and I thought Eddie Griffin was funny, and I was like, damn, empty. Like nobody's going to this.
Dude,
So
I got the hookup as a classic.
I got the my cell phone.
Dude, Master P was a hustler, man. Master P was selling his CDs out the trunk of his car because he was a former drug dealer. He was selling CDs while he was selling dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I remember my brother, man, he was playing this. I will never forget. He was playing this one song. It was Master P's first, I want to say, hit. It wasn't even
Ghetto D was like probably the one No Limit album. Like, like everybody probably had Ghetto D, and like
it was his
in
single
Ice
Cream Man.
Oh,
Ice Cream Man was that one.
That was the one before Ghetto D, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one before Ghetto D. That was I believe his first one that really hit. And then he came out, and then Make 'Em Say, was a monster hit,
That
it was huge.
And
man.
that song was an advertisement for all his other rappers, because I think like it has like
15 every
guest
one
spots.
of them was in there.
15 guest spots. I think
that was the first time. That was the first time you saw Mia X. That was the first time you saw
Mystical
everybody.
came out like a nutbag in that video. Like, who the fuck's this guy?
Exactly.
I think Silk Shocker had like one solid one. The one he had like Trina on it. That was like a solid little one. But like, yeah, I think everybody had Ghetto D, and then just kind of fizzled. I think part of it too, they put out too much, just like a streaming service. We talk about that, but like No Limit probably had like 3 albums coming out a week. And it's like, you can't keep up with that. You can't do that. You can't get all that on the radio. You can't dominate, like, and not all of it's good when you're like putting too much in the market.
Well, I believe at that time period, man, especially in hip hop, they were searching for their identity again.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it was shortly after the deaths of Pac and Big,
right?
Which put a sour taste in people's mouths of hip hop. Everybody was like feeling down and everything, and the hip hop didn't have a direction. It was like going everywhere. It was going right, left, and they didn't have nowhere to go at this point. And then everybody kept on dropping things at the same time, and directionless. DMX came after right after that.
Yep.
Jay-Z was hitting it big and everything, and so. But going back into the early part of when the 2000s hit, you had this influx of artists who were just banging hits after hits after hits after hits, and Cash Money was at the forefront of it.
Yeah,
and they were pretty much like you said in the same vein as No Limit. Just homegrown. Made no excuses. Like, here we are. This is who we are, and we have a sound, and we're going to share it with you. And
lyrically,
that's Cash Money.
Lyrically, all the stuff is like, is like, look at all the stuff I got, and I bang chicks. Like that's all it was. That's all it was. Like, that was the Southern hip hop. A lot of it.
I got money. I got jewelry. I got grills. I got women. That's it. And they had made no excuses by flaunting it.
Nope, that was it. That was what they did. Yeah,
no excuses at all.
Nope.
It was. And I'm not gonna lie. I was young enough to say, "Damn, I want that." She's just like, I
Meanwhile,
want that.
record studios are giving them jack shit, and like
No,
we find out a
no,
lot of them broke real fast too.
pretty
So,
much, pretty much.
yeah.
But Cash Money was more or less like a independent label, give or
Yeah.
take, and you know,
Mhm.
granted, you know, they was having in-house disputes, which is why Juvenile Manny Fresh left and
Mhm.
everything. But that's pretty much their downfall. After Juvie left, when Juvenile left, that's one thing. But when Manny Fresh left,
Mhm.
that was it. That was the equivalent of Dr. Dre leaving NWA.
Yeah.
When the head producer leaves, you have no sound.
Right.
You have nothing. And they didn't have nothing for a while
Sure.
until Lil Wayne started coming out and dropping his gems down.
Mhm.
So they was kind of in a dead space during, pretty much after this in
Yeah.
2005. Pretty much after this, you
Yeah.
didn't hear too much from Cash Money.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's like, what? Check in with the Cash Money, but like, someone should do a documentary about this era of the Cash Money and
Dude, I
No
I
Limit. Yeah.
wish I wish somebody would do
Yeah.
do a documentary on that, an in-depth documentary. Because if you ever heard listen to Master P especially
Mhm.
talk now, he's very smart. He
Yeah.
knows what he's talking about. I would like to see a documentary on New Orleans hip hop
Yeah.
circuit,
Well, because
man.
he goes on to like start exploiting his son, and his son was big for a little bit.
Lil Romeo,
Lil
yeah,
Romeo. Yeah.
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 I mean,
He got in the
Master
fast.
P.
He's in the Fast and Furious family too. I think, right? Or no, that's Bow Wow. Bow Wow was in the
That's
Fast and
Bow
Furious.
Wow.
Yeah, Bow
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Wrong
let's
guy.
not talk about that feud. Let's not talk about that feud.
Romeo was the competition. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Romeo and Bow Wow.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's a good
Cage match.
story on him like exploiting his son, like to that. Like, it's what he's
Probably,
doing. It's what he was doing, like since the little
yeah.
little
pr-
kid.
Pretty much. I mean, that was after the height of No Limit. And then
Hmm.
you saw little Bow Wow come out and everything. God damn, not little Bow Wow, but little Romeo come out.
Yep.
But God, I forgot about them when I was mentioning the hip hop artists of that whole
Yeah.
decade. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. Now that I think about it, it was crazy on how popular 2000 to 2010 was,
Yeah.
and 2004 was right smack dab in the middle of this, and it was insane. 2004, I believe, was before even Kanye dropped. I think Kanye dropped like a year after
He's in like
this,
oh four oh
in
five. Yeah.
'05.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that
The
pretty crazy.
Dropout, which was a great album. Shitty person, that Kanye, but man, he made some good stuff.
His first three albums were classics,
Yeah.
instant classics, man, instant classics. And like I said, 50 dropped around about this
Mm-hmm.
time period. So I mean, the state of hip hop at this time,
D12,
man.
Eminem. There's so much going
Eminem,
on.
Eminem is diamond status. Nelly
Mhm.
was diamond status. There was maybe a couple others, I can't remember who was diamond status at this point in time. But it was pretty much the music industry was dominated at this time by hip hop, and Cash Money for the first 4 or 5 years was at the forefront of it.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
mean, whatever you say about Cash Money now or whatever you say then, they deserve their flowers. You
Yeah.
got to give it to them because they made an impact, and everybody now knows Lil Wayne's name. Everybody now
Mhm.
knows Cash Money's name. So you got to
Yep.
give it to them guys, man.
Very true. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little dissertation on the turn of the century rap music and hip hop scene at the time, because it's fascinating to me. But that'll do it for you, David. That's a wrap on your summer of 2004 at 20. Thank you again for joining this year. But where can people keep up with you the rest of the summer?
Oh man, you can follow me on my social media pages. You can go to Facebook and just look me up, David Banks. I'm sure Brandon will tag me,
Hmm.
on the episode, but I have all my handles and everything on my profile. You can follow me Instagram. I do have a TikTok page, surprisingly.
Oh,
I know, right? I know, that's interesting. So yeah, you can just follow me on there and just hit me up if you want.
all right, excellent. I'm on the socials at Brandon4KUHD. I'm still not on TikTok. One of my kids has it. I don't. Uh, PopCon Louisville 2024 coming. It should be next month. Get in there for that podcast stage if you have not already. Love to see you there, and have fun at PopCon in Kentucky once again. So yeah, you can check out everything at popcon.us. I'll be back with Scott and Aaron on Monday as we discuss The Bourne Supremacy, Home at the End of the World, Ju-on, The Grudge, The Blind Swordsman, Zatoichi, and Catwoman.
Damn, you're gonna be busy.
Yeah. All that and more as the summer of 2004 at 20 continues.